The scariest smile your dog makes may be the softest sentence they know. It happens in doorways, kitchens, laundry rooms, and beside the ruins of something you used to own. A dog lowers their head, pins their ears back, bends their whole body into a loose curve, and suddenly shows you every tooth in their mouth. Your human brain sees weapons. Your dog may be saying, "Please do not be angry with me." There is a 6-year-old Dalmatian mix named Juniper who does this almost every night. She has one black ear, one white ear, and a strange little habit of backing up in 3 tiny circles whenever she gets too excited. Her owner, Evan, is an emergency room nurse who comes home after midnight with sock marks around his ankles and a hospital badge he forgets to take off until it has left a little square dent in his shirt. Before he can even set down his lunch bag, Juniper appears at the hallway rug, shoulders low, tail moving so fast her whole back end seems to blur. Lips pulled all the way back in what looks like a terrible grin. For months, Evan thought she was being weirdly guilty. Then, on the night she chewed the corner of a kitchen mat and greeted him with the same toothy face, he thought something worse. For one sharp second, he wondered if his gentle dog was warning him not to come closer. That is the danger of this expression. It can look like a threat when it is actually a surrender. Look closely at what the submissive grin looks and feels like. The mouth is usually closed or nearly closed. The lips stretch sideways. The eyes soften or squint. The ears flatten. And the dog may curl their body low while wiggling, as if their bones have turned to water. The hidden truth is that the dog is not preparing to bite in that moment. They are trying to lower tension, shrink the threat, and show that they are safe to approach. The next time you see it, do not stare hard at the teeth. Soften your shoulders, turn your body slightly sideways, lower your voice, and let your dog come toward you instead of reaching over their head. Now compare that to a real warning face, because this difference matters. A dog who is threatening or frightened enough to defend themselves often goes still, leans forward or locks in place, opens the mouth more, wrinkles the nose, hardens the eyes, and may hold the tail high and stiff or freeze it low. The hidden truth is that this is not a peace offering. It is a request for distance, and ignoring it can turn a warning into a bite. If you ever see that stiff body with that hard face, stop moving toward the dog. Look away slightly, give space, and ask a qualified trainer or veterinarian for help if it happens more than once. But the submissive grin is different. It is not the face of a dog trying to win a fight. It is the face of a dog trying to prevent one. And this is where the whole story begins to change, because your dog is not using a human smile at all. They are using a much older language, one that began long before there were front doors, dog beds, or owners coming home with keys in their hands. To understand the grin, you have to stop looking at the teeth first. Look at the body. A dog can show the same white teeth in 2 completely different emotional worlds, and the body tells you which world you are standing in. The face is the word, but the body is the sentence. Think of a dog named Milo, a little brown rescue who shows his teeth whenever his owner bends down to clip on the leash. His tail is tucked, but it is wagging in quick, small beats, and he presses his shoulder gently against her knee as if asking for permission to exist there. What it looks like is nervous joy wrapped in a grimace. What it means is that Milo is excited, but also aware that a human bending over him is a big, powerful shape moving into his space. For a dog, a human standing above them is not just a person. It is height, reach, voice, movement, and history all at once. When Milo grins in that doorway, his body is saying, "I want to go with you." but I am also making myself small so nothing bad happens. The action is simple. Instead of leaning straight over him, his owner can kneel beside him, clip the leash from the side, and praise the calm little lean of his body before stepping outside. That one change tells him he does not have to beg the world to stay gentle. A true snarl usually tightens the dog into a shape that feels sharp. The lips pull up, the nose wrinkles, the body becomes a statue, and the eyes may lock onto the person or animal in front of them. The hidden truth is that the dog is preparing for the possibility of conflict, even if they would rather not use their teeth. The safest action is not to punish the warning, because a punished warning can disappear while the fear remains. The safer action is to back up, create distance, and figure out what made the dog feel trapped. A submissive grin does almost the opposite. The lips pull sideways instead of upward. The forehead often smooths. The eyes narrow kindly, and the dog may twist in a loose C shape, all motion and apology. The hidden truth is that the dog is showing their teeth while keeping the bite locked away. Your action in that moment is to reward the peace, not the panic. Speak softly. Avoid looming. Stroke the chest or shoulder if the dog asks for touch. And let the moment settle before you make any big movements. This is why laughing too loudly can confuse the scene. Many dogs learn quickly that humans love the toothy grin, and some begin to offer it as a kind of greeting ritual because it gets warm voices, pets, and happy attention. That learned version can be harmless and sweet, but it still grew from a signal of deference. If your dog smiles this way and seems relaxed, you can enjoy it, but do not force it. Tease it out, or crowd the face for a better video. Juniper learned that Evan melts when she grins. He used to drop his bag and say her name in the special voice people only use when they think nobody is listening. Juniper would wrinkle into joy, back up in her 3 small circles, and flash the grin harder. It became their nightly ceremony, but the ceremony still carried an old message inside it. I am coming close, and I am coming in peace. Here is the part that can be hard for owners to accept. When your dog shows that face beside a chewed shoe, they may not be feeling guilt the way a person feels guilt. They may be reading you. Your stiff posture, your silence, your sudden stare, your changed breathing, and even the sharpness in your smell can tell them that the room has become dangerous. What it looks like is a guilty dog. The head drops, the eyes turn away, the body slinks, and the mouth pulls into that strange, toothy shape, just as you notice the mess on the floor. The hidden truth is usually not a moral confession. It is a fast response to your emotional weather. The action is to pause before you speak, loosen your hands, take one slow breath, and remember that your dog cannot connect a delayed scolding to the full human story you are telling yourself. There is a woman who once came home to find a blue sofa cushion opened like a snowstorm. Her dog, Rosie, stood in the middle of it, grinning so hard her eyes nearly vanished. The woman laughed, then cried a little, then sat on the floor and realized Rosie had been alone through a thunderstorm. The lesson was not that Rosie knew the price of furniture. It was that Rosie knew the person in front of her had changed. This does not mean dogs never learn rules or never understand that certain actions lead to human reactions. They do. They are brilliant pattern readers. But the face you call guilt is often your dog trying to survive the moment after the rule has already been broken. The kinder action is to manage the cause. Put the tempting object away. Shorten the lonely stretch. Give a safer chew, and save your teaching for the moment before the mistake happens next time. And this is where the story gets older than your house. Long before Juniper stood on Evan's hallway rug, dogs came from social hunters who had to live close together, cooperate, share space, and avoid needless injury. In a group where teeth are real tools and wounds can become deadly, peace is not a mood. Peace is a survival skill. Imagine a winter morning before houses, before collars, before stainless steel bowls. A younger animal approaches a stronger adult near food, not wanting to challenge, not wanting to steal, but needing to come close. What it looks like is a low body, a soft gaze, a tucked or gentle tail, and a mouth that shows teeth without opening into a strike. The hidden truth is that this body is a living white flag. The action for us today is to honor the white flag when we see it. If your dog lowers themselves and grins when you return home, do not make them prove their surrender twice. Turn the reunion into safety by greeting them with your side, not your chest, and by touching them only where their body moves toward your hand. A dog who offers peace should receive peace back. This old signal mattered because conflict inside a social group is expensive. A fight between animals who depend on each other can cost blood, strength, trust, and sometimes survival. So nature favored signals that ended tension before bodies collided. The submissive grin is one of those signals, a way to say, I have teeth, but I am choosing not to use them. There is something almost strange about that. The dog shows the very thing that scares us, and the showing is part of the safety. Teeth hidden behind stiff lips may be ready. Teeth displayed in a loose, lowered, squinting body may be disarmed. The scary part is the message of peace. Now think again of Juniper. When Evan comes home, he is tired in a way that makes him move too fast and too quietly. Juniper has no words for hospitals, pain charts, or the way people carry other people's fear home in their shoulders. But she can read the tension in his body before he has even noticed it himself, and her grin arrives like a question. Are we safe tonight? The action Evan learned was small. He stopped walking straight toward her. He put his keys down slowly, turned his hip toward the wall, and said, Hey, June, in a voice so soft it barely filled the hallway. Juniper still grinned, but after a few weeks the circles became slower. Her shoulders lifted a little, and the grin looked less like an apology and more like relief. But the submissive grin is not only an adult behavior. Its roots may reach back into puppyhood, into the helpless days when young animals survive by asking bigger bodies for care. A puppy does not win food, warmth, or safety by force. A puppy survives by making their need impossible to miss. You have seen the modern version if you have ever watched a puppy greet an older dog. The puppy crouches, wiggles, licks at the mouth, darts in and out, and turns into a messy little blur of need. The hidden truth is that the puppy is using motion and softness to say, I am small. I mean no harm. Please respond gently. The action, when you see a puppy do this to an older dog, is to watch the older dog's body carefully and interrupt calmly if the older dog freezes, turns away repeatedly, or looks overwhelmed. As dogs grow up, some puppy signals remain. The low body, the wiggling spine, the soft face, and even the sideways pull of the lips can stay as tools for adult peacemaking. This does not make your adult dog childish in a bad way. It means the body kept a useful language from the time when asking nicely was the difference between comfort and danger. A dog named Tessa does this with her owner's father, a quiet man who visits every Sunday and moves with a cane. Tessa loves him, but the cane taps the floor in a hard rhythm, and she greets him by dropping low and grinning while her tail sweeps the hallway wall. What it looks like is comedy, almost like she is posing for a family photo gone wrong. What it means is that she wants closeness, but she also wants the big moving shapes in front of her to stay predictable. The action is not to say, stop being silly, or to push her face away. Her owner can guide the greeting by asking the visitor to stand still for 3 seconds, turn slightly sideways, and let Tessa sniff the hand near the thigh instead of reaching over her head. Then, when her body loosens, the touch can come under the chin or along the chest. That small change lets the dog finish her sentence without fear. This is also why children need help understanding the grin. A child may see teeth and either panic or laugh, then rush closer because the dog seems funny. The hidden truth is that even a friendly appeasement signal can be part of a dog feeling pressure. The action is to teach the child one rule they can remember if a dog shows teeth. Freeze your feet, call an adult, and let the grown-up read the whole body. This protects both the dog and the child. It also teaches something many adults forget. Dogs are not confusing because they are dishonest. They are confusing because we keep translating them into human language before we learn theirs. And then comes the strangest mirror in the whole story. Humans show teeth too. We smile at neighbors, cashiers, children, friends, and strangers in elevators, often before we say a word. We may think of smiling as happiness, but at its deepest level, a polite smile also says, "I am safe. I am not here to hurt you. You do not need to fear me." That does not mean your dog is copying your smile. It means two very different species found a similar answer to the same social problem. How do you come close to another living being with tools that could harm and prove that closeness is safe? One answer, across a long stretch of animal life, is to bare the teeth without using them. What it looks like in people is a quick, closed-mouth smile in a hallway when nobody wants conflict. What it looks like in dogs is Juniper bending herself into a spotted comma by the door, teeth bright under the entryway light. The hidden truth is, shared both faces are trying to make contact safer. The action is to meet your dog's peace signal with your own, using soft eyes, a relaxed mouth, and a body that says, "I see you, and there is no fight here." This is where the old science becomes very personal. Your dog lives in a human world full of tall bodies, sudden hands, doorbells, vacuum cleaners, arguments, dropped pans, guests, children, leashes, baths, vet visits, and rules they did not create. Many dogs spend their lives trying to keep that world calm enough to belong in. The submissive grin is one way they do that work. Some breeds and family lines seem more likely to show this toothy peace signal than others. Dalmatians are famous for it. And many owners know the half-smile, half-snarl look so well that they have their own affectionate names for it. But any dog can show some version of it, and the absence of the grin does not mean a dog loves less or trusts less. It only means that dog may speak peace with different tools. Some dogs lick their lips, some turn their head away, some roll onto a hip, bring a toy, curve around your legs, sneeze, or suddenly become very interested in the floor. What it looks like may be random, cute, or even annoying. The hidden truth is often the same. Your dog is trying to lower pressure in the room. The action is to stop asking, "Why are you being weird?" and start asking, "What just made this moment feel too big?" There is a dog who brings a sock every time his owner raises her voice on a phone call. He does not know what taxes are, or why the internet bill made her swear under her breath. He only knows that the air changed, so he grabs the softest peace offering he can find and stands nearby with his eyes shining. The action is not to scold the sock thief first. It is to lower your voice. Take the sock gently and notice that someone in the room is trying to take care of the room. When a submissive grin becomes a learned greeting, it can turn joyful. The dog discovers that this strange face makes humans laugh, kneel, clap, and say their name. Over time, the grin may appear with more bounce and less worry. But the kindest owners still remember its roots, because a joke that began as surrender deserves respect. So how should you respond tonight if your dog gives you the grin? First, read the whole dog. If the body is loose, low, wiggly, squinty, and coming toward you in soft curves, you are probably looking at appeasement. The action is to make yourself less like a tower. Bend your knees, turn sideways, speak gently, and touch low instead of over the head. Second, read the moment. If the grin happens when you walk in and your dog seems excited, keep the greeting calm and warm. If it happens after you find a mess, do not turn the grin into a confession. The action is to clean up quietly, make a plan for prevention, and teach when your dog is able to learn, not when they are already trying to calm you down. Third, protect the line between cute and pressured. If guests want to crowd your grinning dog, film them, tease them, or make them repeat the face. Step in. What looks funny to humans may still feel intense to the dog. The action is to say, "She is friendly, but give her a little room," and then create that room with your own body. This may seem small, but dogs build trust from small things. A soft turn of your shoulder, a hand that waits, a voice that does not boom over their head. To a dog offering peace, these are not manners, they are proof. Late one night, Evan came home and found Juniper waiting in the hallway with the kitchen mat untouched, her toy fox in her mouth, and that old, toothy grin spread across her face. He almost laughed, then stopped. For the first time, he did not see a clownish smile or a scary snarl. He saw a dog laying down her weapons at the door of the only world she had. He knelt, not over her, but beside her. Juniper took 2 of her tiny backward circles, then leaned her shoulder into his chest, still grinning around the toy fox. What it looked like was ridiculous. What it meant was ancient. A dog can carry a very old language into a very ordinary hallway. That is the science punchline. The toothy face that scares so many people is not always a warning and not always a joke. Sometimes it is a survival signal that found its way into love. A shape once used to prevent conflict in a dangerous world now appears under warm kitchen lights, beside muddy shoes, in front of people holding grocery bags and bad days. We do not fully understand every detail of what a dog feels in that exact moment. We are still asking better questions, and the honest answers matter. But we know enough to stop calling every tooth a threat and every lowered head a confession. We know enough to look at the whole body, the whole room, and the relationship around the expression. And once you see it, the hallway changes. Juniper is not just smiling at Evan, she is approaching power with trust. She is showing teeth inside a body that has chosen softness, and she is asking the human she loves to choose softness back. So tonight, if your dog gives you that strange little grin, make it a small ceremony. Stop for one breath before you react. Turn your shoulder, soften your face, and say their name like a promise. Then let your hand wait low enough for them to decide how close they want to come. That is how you accept the oath. Not with fear, not with laughter that turns them into a joke. With the quiet respect of a person who has finally learned that a dog may bare their teeth for the most peaceful reason in the world. Has your dog ever shown you a submissive grin? The kind that looked a little scary until you learned what the rest of the body was saying. Tell us what it looked like in the comments, because those small stories help other owners read their dogs with more kindness. If this helped you see your dog differently, subscribe to the Soulful Dog and join the people who believe dogs deserve to be understood, not just loved. And soon, we will look at another quiet signal your dog may be giving you every day. One that starts with a glance away.